Greetings and hello, everybody. Welcome back to the middle of the order and another TOP for you guys here today. And we're talking about the Cleveland Guardians and what is for sure to be an interesting year for what is a young team to go off of that. Last year was not the year they were hoping for. They end up falling short in the division to the Twins, and not only the Twins, but also the Tigers were higher than them. They finished 76th and 86th, 27th in runs for, 9th in ERA, and 8th in runs against. That was good for 3rd in the AL Central, 11th in the AL, and 22nd overall in MLB. They should have had the 9th pick, but they brought their lucky rabbit's foot down to the lotto because they are moving up all the way to number 1. That is right. The Guardians have the first overall pick in this year's MLB draft. It's the first time ever in their franchise's history that they'll have a number 1 pick. So they better use it wisely because whoever they pick is going to have a lot of expectations for the Guardians going forward. They took a simple approach this offseason. Of course, they have young kids and young players who are on team-friendly numbers, and they don't have to pay too much money, and they don't need to fill too many holes. But, you know, they went out, they grabbed Austin Hedges, former Guardian, former 2023 World Series winner. Davision De Los Santos, I hope I pronounced that right. He's coming over on a Rule 5 pick from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Estevan Floro, they traded for. Scott Barlow, they traded for. Ben Lively, and then Carlos Carrasco back with the Guardians. He's a non-roster invitee right now, trying to pitch his way into the roster, whether it be in the rotation or in that bullpen. Who they lost? Well, they lost a couple pitchers. Lucas Giolito, they claimed him off of waivers from the Angels. Excuse me. Same with Reynaldo Lopez, both of which who are gone. Cal Quantrill, that's been the big one here. They traded him to the Rockies. Zach Plesac's gone. Cole Calhoun, Mike Zunino, Noah Syndergaard, Christian Bethancourt, although I don't think he yet to play a game with the Guardians. I think they claimed him from the Rays and then traded him to the Marlins. And then Eric Haase, also gone. So a small list of players you may or may not know. Guys who, you know, have been there and pitched big games. You know, Cal Quantrill has been a big piece in that Guardians rotation for a decent amount of time, but you never know. The rotation, though, does look good with 2 solid vets and 3 younger guys. Shane Bieber leads the way. He is the one. Tristan McKenzie, hopefully he can have a healthy year as the 2 right now. Tanner Bybee, I'm pretty sure it's how it's pronounced. I've been calling it BB, I think. Tanner Bybee, he's the number 3 right now. Logan Allen and Gavin Williams round up that rotation. Gavin Williams came up about middle of the way last year, and he was beautiful for the Guardians in that late half. He was pitching really nicely as well as Logan Allen. The bullpen has some names here, and especially one guy, Emmanuel Clase, one of the best relief pitchers in the game right now. Guardians have him. Scott Barlow, who they picked up. Nick Sandlin, Eli Morgan, James Karinchuk. Remember when he was that crazy good in 2019 and 2020, I believe? They also have Ben Lively, who they picked up in free agency, as well as Sam Hentage. And then right now it does list Carlos Carrasco as part of the bullpen, but he is a non-roster invitee right now and still fighting for a spot on that team, which consists of an interesting listed lineup right here. Leading things off, Steven Kwan, the left fielder, bats first. Andres Jimenez, the second baseman, batting second. How many of those have we had already? The star of the team, Jose Ramirez, batting third. Josh Naylor, DH, bats fourth. Ramon Laureano in right field, fifth. Bo Naylor, brother of Josh Naylor, catcher, batting sixth. Then they have Kyle Manzarato listed here, non-roster invitee, top prospect. Is listed first baseman, batting seventh. And then Brian Rocio, I believe is the name to pronounce it, the second best prospect in the Guardians organization. He's playing shortstop, batting eighth. And then Miles Straw in center field rounds up that lineup there. The bench has Austin Hedges, Gabriel Arias, who was, playing in his first year last year, Davision De Los Santos, the Rule 5 pick, as well as Estevan Floro. So some guys and some guys who would be making debuts, essentially. Brian Rocio, I'm going to be pronouncing it Rocio until I watch a game and hear how it's pronounced. He got a couple games in, I believe, last year. Kyle Manzarado, he has yet to touch MLB Baseball Kids 23. The Guardians acquired him in a trade last year in exchange for Aaron Savali as they took one of Tampa Bay's top prospects. Now the Guardians' top prospect, as well as Brian Rocio, the number 2 ranked organization prospect, and then Daniel Espino. He's expected to maybe also get a chance this year as well. And George Valera as well as one of the top prospects in the Guardian system. Valera, right now, he's actually, he had a strained hamstring, I believe, at the beginning of spring, but he is projected to be opening day in the minors. And another injury here, Trevor Stefan, for that Guardians bullpen. He's not listed right now. He had a bone bruise in his elbow at the start of spring training, and he is expected to hit the injured list before opening day, if not sooner than that, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Looking into the future a little bit for 2025, the free agents at the end of this year. 2 names that they acquired this year that don't mean much, Austin Hedges and Scott Barlow, although I think Scott Barlow is a good bullpen piece for a team here. But the big one here is Shane Bieber. Was drafted in 2016. His service time is up, and he is hitting free agency at the end of this year. And you know what that means? Trade rumors. Woohoo! Everyone loves those. But let's take a look at Shane Bieber here, quickly start things off here. And he's had quite a nice career with the Guardians so far. He is a Triple Crown winner in the pitchers category, Gold Glove winner. He's an All-Star Game MVP, 2-time All-Star, and then a Cy Young as well. It is important to note that his Triple Crown and his Cy Young came in 2020, was COVID year, but he was brilliant during the COVID year. 8-1 record, a 1.63 ERA, led the league in strikeouts, led the league in ERA, ERA plus, FIP, strikeouts per 9. He was absolutely dealing. But this year was a bit of a step back on his behalf, I would say. He was 6-6 record, made 21 starts, a 3.8 ERA, 128 innings pitched, 107 strikeouts. So definitely when you look at years past, not the same Bieber we've been seeing. 2022, he was there healthy all season long, 31 starts made. He was 13-8, finished 7th in Cy Young and with the Gold Glove. And then 2021, 2019, those were his all-star years. He finished 4th in Cy Young in 2019. And then, of course, 2020 was the actual Cy Young winner. He's been an ace for a long time when you think about it. When you go back to the Guardians rotation, when he was like the kid of the rotation, when they had Corey Kluber and Trevor Bauer and Mike Clevenger, as well as Carrasco still, Bieber was that 5th guy, that young kid. Now he's the star and the ace. Tristan McKenzie was that young kid 2 years ago, and now he's kind of the 2nd guy here. And they got 3 other kids, Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee, and Logan Allen. For me, I think Gavin Williams is the best out of the trio, even though Bybee had an incredible year last year, but he was also was there for the whole season while Williams and Allen got called up midway-ish. But Gavin Williams did have some nice stuff to go into his year. Taking a look at the Guardians, third baseman here, Jose Ramirez, the star of the team, the number 1 player, and it's not close. They signed him to a nice extension a couple years ago. Last 3 years, all All-Star years, all top 10 MVP votings, and a Silver Slugger to his name. Just hit 30 years old. He's going to be 31 at some point this year. And he's been the star third baseman really since 2015-16 when the Guardians won those runs in the World Series even. 2023, though, last year, 156 games played for him. 172 hits, a 282 batting average, an 831 OPS, 24 home runs, and 80 RBIs. And I think that was the big thing for the Guardians last year, was that their offense was not contributing. And I definitely think it goes into expectations, really, that never really clicked. We're talking about Jose Ramirez here, where 831 OPS, it's still a very nice OPS, but the last time he had a lower OPS was in 2019, which is, a good amount of time ago. He's been a lot better over years prior, but still had a great year. But I think some of the other guys, some of the younger kids even, who had great 2022s, and then in 2023 was more of a step back year for them. And the two that I can think of off the top of my head are the two guys who lead off the Guardians lineup here projected by Fangraphs, and that is Steven Kwan and Andres Gimenez. Steven Kwan in 2022 finished third in Rookie of the Year voting and won a Gold Glove. He had a 772 OPS, a 298 batting average, and yeah, it was just a solid hitter all the way around for Cleveland in his rookie year. And then last year, batting average fell about 30 points from 2.98 to 2.68, and the OPS fell about 60 as he went from 772 to 710. So definitely took a little bit of a drawback from hitting. Both his walk numbers and strikeout numbers increased this year. He was just kind of another average year, it wasn't anything progress forward, but it wasn't an awful step back. He still put up a nice OPS and still had a good year, won a Gold Glove. But I think they were expecting more from him from the top of the lineup entering 2023. The same can be said for Andres Gimenez, who's been around a little bit longer. He got some time in COVID with the Mets, where he finished 7th in Rookie of the Year voting before they traded him to the Guardians when they did the Lindor swap. 2021, he came up towards the end of the season, played 68 games. Last year was his first full time in the major leagues, and he played 146 games. Was an All-Star, finished 6th in MVP voting and a Gold Glove. He had an 837 OPS, a 297 batting average, 17 home runs, 146 hits. He was really good in 2022, but 2023, same as Kwan, step backs and drawbacks. That 297 batting average turned to 251. The 837 OPS turned to 712. The 146 hits went down to 140, but he also had 100 extra at bats, or 50 plate appearances, I would say, more than he did, and he only was able to push up 6 more hits. So yeah, it was definitely not the year that these two wanted to have. And I think those are, just part of the sophomore slump. Sometimes you get players who have great rookie years, and then, the next year after that is just really not a step forward, not on the same level. It really is just that back step. Sometimes we see it as end of career back step, and then every year is just worse and worse and worse. We've seen that with guys like Kyle Lewis and guys like, right now, Jared Kelenic. Who knows what his deal is going to be with in Atlanta. But I feel like these two are due for bounce back years and have a good year for Cleveland. And I think Andres Gimenez could be a good second baseman. I think he's going to find that 2022 form. And I feel like Steven Kwan's going to have his best year and post an 800 OPS for the first time in his career. And speaking of another one of their young kids, Bo Naylor, brother of Josh Naylor. Last year was his first official year, his rookie year, I believe. Was not, in any rookie they're voting, but he did play 67 games, so I'm not sure if he graduated or not. He might not be a rookie. He might still be a rookie for 2024. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote that. But last year, his first official time in the majors, besides 5 games in 2022, where he went 0 for 8. He was a lot better this time around. 2023, 67 games, 47 hits, 11 home runs, 32 ribbies, 237 batting average, and an 809 OPS. For me, the number that kind of stands out here is the strikeouts, 53 strikeouts in 67 games. Not ideal, but he is a good hitting catcher, as we've seen him, thus far. He's only going to be 24, plenty of team control. And I think that's what I said with the whole free agency and why they didn't do so much, is they have a lot of guys here who are free agents until 2028, 2029, 2030 even. Steven Kwan, Tanner Bybee, Logan Allen, Gavin Williams, Karinchuk, just McKenzie. These are some guys. Andres Gimenez, they gave out a 7-year contract, so he's already locked up a nice deal there with Cleveland after his great 2022. So we just have to see it from these guys. Let the kids, continue to progress. There's even, Will Brennan is a player there, 26 years old. He's gonna be right now. He's projected to start in AAA. He's been a guy before. David Fry, catcher. He's kind of playing around up and down the league as he goes here. And we talked about guys like George Valera as well. It'll be interesting to see how some of these guys have their 2024 campaigns here. Overall, Cleveland as a whole, it's a fun team. It's not young and fun. Some of these guys have been around for 2, 3 years now, but they still have a young team overall, and they just need to be continuing to progress in the right way, just like Steven Kwan and Jimenez had step backs from 2022 to 2023. I think Cleveland as a whole had that step back as well, and it doesn't really do them any favors. What does do them a favor, though, is the fact that they have the first overall pick this year. The fact that right now they have their top two prospects, Kyle Manzarato and Brian Rocio, listed to be on the starting day lineup and be in that starting, day one lineup. And if these guys are playing and these guys are going, you mix that with Bo Naylor's second year, with Steven Kwan's third year, Andres Jimenez, having that bounce back year, the pitching going, Gavin Williams a full season, Logan Allen a full season, Bybee coming off his, great first year. I mean, Tanner Bybee was really one of the big talking points for the Guardians last year as a whole. I mean, he was great for them. Finished second in Rookie of the Year voting, just behind Gunnar Henderson. A 10-4 record, a 2.98 ERA in 25 games, 141 strikeouts. Yeah, Bybee was great. So, I mean, they have the right pieces. Bunch of young kids, let them play, let them develop, and see how they go is all you can really do right now if you're Cleveland, and, use that first round pick wisely, because you're not going to be getting another one for a couple of years probably. If I'm Cleveland, if I'm a Cleveland fan, I like my team. I like the players of my team. You got two kids at the bottom there with Miles Straw in the 7, 8, 9 holes. You've got a rotation that just looks solid, between the ages of 24 and 27, if you don't include Shane Bieber. The bullpen is a little hit or miss, but, with Emmanuel Clase back there, I mean, any close game and game you have a 1 or 2 run lead, you can feel confident in. And even if, teams like the Tigers and possibly even the Royals and Twins, if they're on top of you guys during those games and you just can't break away from the division and you end up falling behind and to a point where at the deadline, things aren't looking good for you guys this year, I mean, Shane Bieber will go, most likely. There's no reason to keep him around if the Guardians aren't in a playoff contention spot. Trade Bieber to a team who's looking to compete, who's looking to get starting pitching, and get another prospect who's almost ready to go type of thing, where you kind of did it with Kyle Manzarato when you traded Aaron Savali to the Rays last year. Do the same thing with Bieber, and that's going to help you guys out. So even that, it'll be hard to see him go as a Guardians fan, but it will help the team out in the long run, for 2025, possibly 2026. But yeah, the Guardians have a nice upside here. They have fun players, the Naylor brothers, and obviously Jose Ramirez. Don't get on his bad side because he will knock you out. The Guardians over under 79.5. That is a good line here because I definitely think Cleveland can get 80 wins. 100%. If things are going right, then I will definitely, believe in the 80-win Guardians. But the question is if everything goes right. And to be honest with you, I look at the Tigers team, and I look at the Royals even, and the Twins are still very good. I don't know. It's this one's a tricky one because it's more now of a gut feeling. Because, I mean, you could say this about the Royals and the Tigers even. Who deserves like who's gonna have a better season? Who do you feel off of the teams, off of injury history? Who do you think is gonna come out on top? The Guardians fell last year to the Tigers, but they also had a down year. The Royals made a lot of free agent moves. I took the over on both the Royals and the Tigers. How good is that Twins team going to be? Because I can't take the over on all 4 AL Central teams besides the White Sox, because one of them's going under. I'm going to take the Guardians. I'm going to take the Guardians as the under. I think it's Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we have 80 wins for the Guardians here, and they're pushing for the division. But I'm gonna say stick with my gut with the Royals and Tigers having great seasons, and if those two teams are having great seasons, that means I think the Guardians are gonna have another tough season. Maybe Jimenez isn't the Jimenez of 2022. Maybe the prospects just don't hit when they're supposed to be. I mean, that's the thing for the Guardians is can their guys hit? They've always had great pitchers, but it's really the offense that we'll be watching come the start of the season. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to today's TOP. And hopefully you caught the other one as well. We talked about those Cardinals. Right now we're hitting some of the essential teams from both the AL and the NL. Is that a hint for tomorrow's two teams? Maybe. But I appreciate you all. Thank you, everybody, so much. And I will see you guys tomorrow.